Hi everyone. Gonna continue with second half of um whatever this is, a recounting explanation, or just sort of I just going through some of my experiences with anxiety. So so I came back when I returned to the same school for second semester. Um with the medication, I was actually able to like go out in public and uh kind of be around people without really feeling much of anything, without really feeling like any anxiety. But um that's really all it did. I still didn't really care about my classes at all. um and it didn't really cause me to feel like motivated to do anything. I could just kind of be around people. um and in a way it kind of ended up uncovering something worse, because it the physical anxiety symptoms weren't there anymore, but like there was something else underneath that was worse, that was now being allowed to surface. So one day, early in the semester, I was outside a classroom, waiting for my class to start, and I was listening to music and, the usual kind of demeanor. Um, so I was writing notes down, in a notebook, for like a personal project I was working on. And at some point, someone else who was also in the class came up to me and greeted me. And this was like a drawing class or something that I did as an elective. So I was kind of a little more interested in that class, than uh, any of my actual major classes, because I saw it as like helping me with a hobby I was interested in at the time. Um, so anyway, this person came up to me, asked me what I was doing, what I was writing, and I don't really remember if I even tried to explain it, but I, I did my best to answer, um, which probably didn't amount to a whole lot, because all the medication really allowed me to do was to I'd still socialize very poorly, but I just wouldn't feel really anything while I was doing it. Um, I was still very aware of like how like awkward and like pathetic I came off. Anyway, we had a really brief exchange, and then she told me that she liked my shirt, um, and then went inside the classroom. And for some reason, this like innocent interaction uh, removed whatever barrier was like stopping me from understanding what was happening to me. And I had a realization, um, that went beyond just, like, oh, I'm anxious around people, and like I have issues with this, or whatever. This was the moment where, like, for the first time, I comprehended the gravity of how bad things were for me mentally. I realized, like, I hated myself. I hated that I needed medication and still really couldn't function like a normal person. I hated that I was already behind most other college students because I had wasted so much time, you know, signing up for classes that I barely ever went to. I hated that I was too socially inept to make any friends on my own, or even get through like a simple, exchange with a classmate. And all this kind of like hit at once, and I didn't follow her into the classroom. I left the building and went back to my room. And I think that was the last class, to my memory, that I attended for that semester. Again, very early in. A little while after that, I got sick. Really, really, really sick for about 2 weeks. And then I dropped out. I was just in no condition to continue there at all. So that was a little later that year. I started seeing a psychologist, someone different that wasn't, just here's some medication. And he was actually very helpful. He pressed on a lot of things that would end up being kind of helpful, at least as far as me, doing some like introspection and helping me realize some things about myself. Anyway, I eventually took myself off of the medication. I just didn't want to take it anymore. The following year, I ended up in a relationship. I mentioned before that I had stopped going to him around that time. The problem with that decision was that it was because of a temporary relief. Things only felt better for me, for a little while. The anxiety and depression kind of took a back seat, but that didn't last very long. I was constantly worrying that she would want to end the relationship. I would unintentionally cause her guilt because of my anxious attachment. I never really felt good enough. I would overreact to innocuous comments or, trains of discussion, because I would interpret them in like very uncharitable ways. So the just the overall lack of self-esteem and respect for myself, combined with the fear of the relationship ending, meant I had a difficult time setting boundaries. Um, I don't want to make this all it sound like it was all bad, because it wasn't. There were a lot of good times. Most of it was good. Um, there were a lot of good times. We we had a lot of fun together. We lived together at some point. But these things would come up and cause arguments and conflicts and stuff. And a lot of it was due to just my own like warped perceptions of myself. And I think ultimately it's what contributed to her ending the relationship. Um, so yeah, the lots of problems that it caused, anxiety and just overall not really liking myself at all, sort of made me sabotage the relationship. Um, so afterwards, uh, it took me a little quite a while actually to get over the relationship. It ended pretty abruptly. Um, but once that was done, um, there's at least some kind of silver lining. Um, it took a few years, but I did at least I do at least know now like what I want from a partner, and what I want in out of a relationship, which I didn't really have an idea of prior. It was nothing really concrete. But now it's a lot more clearly defined for me. Um, so something was at least gained. I'm not entirely certain if I have anxiety anymore. To be honest, um, I haven't really felt that way, how I was feeling in college in a long time. Um, whether it's because I've my thinking has changed, or I'm just older and it's too exhausting now. Um, I'm not sure. Uh, but there is something else that I feel I'm carrying. Um, I think I mentioned previously, my psychologist had been about to start kind of poking at it. And I stopped going to him. Uh, it's a kind of very pervasive, deep sadness, um, that feels like it's been with me for my entire life, pretty much. Um, I mentioned before that I wasn't always like, you know, a negative person. When I was a kid, I was happy like other kids were, but I was also very quick to upset. Um, like it wouldn't take a lot to upset me. Things that upset me did not upset pretty much any other kid my age. Um, certain uh, certain movies or amounts of I guess I was just very sensitive. Um, and in a lot of ways, I'm still like that. Um, less with other people. Like it takes a lot or very specific things for people to say or do to upset me genuinely. Um, but more so with other things that happen. Stuff that's happening around me in the world. Uh, when I allow it to happen, you do learn some, hopefully, emotional discipline as you get older. Uh, so I've been playing Resident Evil Requiem, and there was actually a moment I had that was emotional for me, um, with a particular file or note that you find when you're playing as Leon, uh, that kind of just sent me. Um, I wasn't expecting it to, um, but it's something I want to talk about more at some other time, uh, because I think there are people out there that will know what I'm talking about, that have also felt it or feel it, um, that have carried it with them throughout their lives. Um, but that's for another time. Um, I think that we're gonna take a break from this kind of, you know, sad, depressing kind of stuff. I'm still gonna talk about, you know, things that are on my mind, um, just kind of as they come up. Uh, and I think the next video we do, it's still gonna be topic, you know, heavy, but uh, we're gonna take a little break from the depressing stuff. Yeah. So that's it for this one. You know, if you watched the whole thing, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And yeah, there'll be more soon. See ya.